but we're going to do it real time. So what are relative clauses? Relative clauses are the ones that we use in order to provide more information in a sentence about something. For example, the person who lives next door is a doctor. We can split the sentence into two. For example, that person lives next door. And the other sentence is, that person is a doctor. Okay? So in here we have one piece of information, which is the first sentence. And here we have the second sentence. Whenever we have and we want to join those two sentences in one, what we do is unify them by making the connection using the relative pronoun. Okay, who. In this case, who is doing the action of joining these two sentences. Okay? Did you see it? Right. Now, what are the type of relative clauses? We have defining and non-defining. Defining because the information cannot be omitted. This means that the information is really necessary, otherwise the sentence won't make sense. So an example of defining relative clause is this one. That's the girl who sells candies. Okay, what happens if I omit this sentence? If I delete it, if I do this, I'm just saying that's the girl. That's the girl. If we don't have any type of context, that wouldn't make much sense, because in that scenario, we don't have information to identify what girl is it. You just say, that's the girl. That's the girl. What? Who sells candies? Okay. In this case, who is the relative. What is it doing? It is unifying two sentences. Okay. Here we have the two sentences. One of them is the dependent clause and another one is independent. Okay. So far so good. Now, what are the type of relative clauses that we have? Okay, so we have defining and non-defining. Let's go for a non-defining. And a non-defining one is whenever the information can be omitted and I think this is with double T. Can you confirm, please? Omitted, but and the sentence still makes sense. So let's see an example. Ronald, who studies medicine is in Florida. Okay, what happens in here? I have the relative, which is who. I have the dependent clause, and I have an independent clause. What is important about this sentence? That we have commas. The commas are going to indicate that an information is extra and it can be omitted. Okay? So far, so good. I think we're getting the point. But in a moment, we're going to make more examples. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay? Now, what are the relative pronouns? For the moment, and only for today, we're going to study the following. That, which, and who. Okay? Those are for today. I'll give you the floor in a moment.
Teacher. Teacher.
Give me a second.
I have. Okay.
Yeah, just a moment. Just a moment. Hold it there. Hold it there. Where? Maybe whom. Whom is more old-fashioned. Where? Which? Whom? When? And others. I think there are others. Whose? Okay, those things. Yes, sir. Go ahead, my friend. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Teacher, what's the information that can be omitted? The information between commas or the information after the comma?
Yeah, this information is the one that we can omit. Why? Because if you say, let me bigger this up. Okay, here. This is the information that we can omit. Why? Because if I say Ronald is in Florida, it still makes sense. You see? Ronald is in Florida, and it won't affect the sentence. But if in a defining sentence, I delete this part, if I delete this part, what happens? I won't have a context. The sentence won't make sense by itself, because you would say, that's the girl, but what girl? We don't know. We don't have any kind of information, unless we're speaking about something. Okay?
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Now, this is using who. Now, who is the relative pronoun that we use in order to refer to people. Okay, so these are the ones that we're going to study today. And I think tomorrow we're going to study these ones. Why? Because the time is not enough. I think we're going to have until 8:10 in order to finish the class, so it's going to be pretty short. Tomorrow we're also going to make some exercises as well, if possible. If not, then we're going to leave it for Thursday. Now, this is to refer to people. Okay, to people. This refers to animals, objects. Let's put it down here. Objects. Animals and objects. Okay, and this can be either objects for people. Okay. Now, what is it that we use who usually? Why, if we have people here, why do we have people here and people here? If we can only use one of those, why? Why is that? The reason is because in speech, in oral speech, we're going to use that mostly. However, being more formal, we use who in texts. So here, informal and oral speech. Let's put another color. And formal in Texas. Mostly. That doesn't mean that you cannot use it in oral speaking. Yeah, it is possible. But mostly, that is the main difference. Because for this one, it can be used for objects. Now, who cannot be used for objects. It's only for people. Now, I'll leave the floor open so that you can give me your own example. In the comment section, go ahead and post your examples. Okay? In the meantime, I'm going to be writing one example using which. So I'm waiting for you guys. Write in the comments. Okay, let's see. Very good, guys. Great participation. I see Gustavo participating. Jaime, who teaches me English, is in his house. Amazing sentence. That is good. Jose, who isn't my friend, by the way, is always jealous. Cool. That is a good sentence. Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia, has a cold weather. Guys, you got better examples than I do. Come on. That woman who cooks the best desserts is my mom. Okay. Susan, who cooks delicious, is knocking the door. The lion, which was sleeping, is running away from. Okay, in Manuela's sentence, I would say that you can change it a little bit, like specifying that an action was another before another one. For example, the lion, which was sleeping, is now running away from a hunter. Okay, that is something that you can do in order to make it in order to clarify. The neighbor who lives over to me listens to rock. Okay, in Alexandro's sentence, let me show you Alexandro's sentence. It says, the neighbor who lives over who lives on the second floor, maybe, or second floor. Let's put it this way: the one who lives on the maybe you're in a building. Well, we're going to do it like this. Usually listens to rock. Now, take a look at the following. Can we put commas here? Yes or no? What do you think? That person who is playing tennis at the court has a brother. Okay, maybe you can say my upstairs neighbor. Yeah, that is a good one. So guys, can we use commas here? Yes or okay, in Juan Jose's Diaz sentence, remember that you need to put a comma before the who, because that information can be omitted. Your classmate, so comma, who is very intelligent, comma, isn't paying attention to the class. The neighbor who lives on the second floor usually listens to rock. Can you say the neighbor usually listens to rock? Yes, it is possible. Therefore, this one is with commas. Why? Because, like I say, it's a non-defining relative clause. It means that this information is not necessary for this to make sense. Okay, so far so good. I think everything is fine. Now, I want you guys to tell me in the comments, is this sentence defining or non-defining? The same for the last one. So say in the comments, first one is defining or non-defining, and second one is this or that. What do you think? My neighbor who lives next to me is noisy. Non-defining and defining. Okay, cool. Second is unidentified. Unidentified. Okay, better if you call it undefined, non-defining. Non-defining would be, I think, more appropriate. I've never heard of unidentified. Cool, mates. So let's go for that. We already used which can be also used. I mean, I forgot this one. It's very important. No, never mind. Never mind. Okay, let's go with the second, with the third one, which is using that. That we can also use it for questions. Was the apple I told you not to eat. What happened in here? I can use that. Look at this. You can use that, but you can also omit it. What happens in here? Where's the apple I told you not to eat? And why is it? Because this part can pretty much be replaced with an object. And what is an object? That. For example, where's that apple? Where's that apple? This that is referring to this. Now, whenever it is an object, it can be changed as an object. You can delete that. For example, here, another example. That's the girl that I like. Okay. It's her. Okay, this is the object. So in that case, you can omit this, that, and it would be pretty much like this. That's the girl I like. Okay, guys? So I don't know if you're clear. Maybe you still have doubts, but we're finishing. Okay? So what I want you to do is write those doubts, write those questions. I will also investigate of what Alejandro told me, because it is also important. And I'll see you tomorrow, okay? So tomorrow I'm going to make the precision on what David told me, and I will also explain the rest of the relative pronouns. Okay, some of these are adverbs, but we'll explain that later on. Okay, guys, any question for now? Anything that you want to say before you leave? Okay, so thank you very much, guys, and please let me know tomorrow what happened with Kate. I'll see you around, my friends. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye. See you, mate. Thanks for the contribution, though. I'll check on it. Bye, man.
Okay, teacher. Bye. Thank you.